This podcast was recorded on a Wabakal and Ngunnawal land. Hi, I'm Kurt Fearnley, Paralympian.
Hi, I'm Chad Perris, Paralympian.
Chatty, how are you doing? What's happening in the world of Chad Perris?
Oh, Kurt, thanks for having me, mate. First up, really good to be here in the hosting chair. I'm in the middle of a strong prep for Paris at the moment, but I just got selected for World Championships in Kobe, which are being held in May. So Kobe in Japan, for those that don't know. So pretty exciting to go back and hopefully race in front of a crowd this time in Japan, which is quite the opposite in Tokyo when we were there previously. So yeah, very excited for that.
What about some local competitions? Anything popping up around here?
I'm racing the stall gift in 3.5 weeks, I think it is, or whenever Easter is. I'm sort of just in the training bubble at the moment. So yeah, Easter will be racing at stall, which I'm really excited for. Looking forward to the handicaps coming out and seeing what sort of mark that I've got and what chance I'll stand on the competition that weekend. So yeah, really excited for stall.
The stall's a really interesting competition because we get some people with disabilities being able to compete with their non-disabled peers. And is it right? Can you bet on the stall gift?
You actually can. It's quite a fascinating beast. The gambling side of that aspect, and they sort of came out earlier a month ago or so and announced that there was going to be no betting on site this year, which would have been the first time in its history, I think. And then they've just revised that yesterday. I think it came out that there was going to be gambling on site, but no betting on under 19s, I think is the why that was sort of brought in. So they didn't want gambling on under 19 athletes and juniors, or so they've you can only bet on senior athletes racing. So it's always fascinating. You sort of walk through the hill up there, and there's all the sort of betting stands set up, and it feels like you're at horse racing or something like that. But it's quite fun.
How's the crowd?
The crowd's unreal. Very different sort of athletics vibe to what you're used to going down to the track, I guess, but very historic sort of thing. There's some people that'll be putting their deck chairs out and sitting in exactly the same seat that they've sat at for the last 40 years, and they love it, and I love it as well. Like I went to stall for the first time in 2022, race there, and I wasn't in good shape at that time, so I was just there for the ride. And last year I went and I was injured, so I couldn't compete, but really knowledgeable crowd. I get a lot of people stopping me along the way that have watched me race at the Paralympic Games and World Championships, and kids in particular as well love getting things signed and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and really good weekend. And yeah, the crowd is a really good vibe. It's so much fun.
Well, Chatty, you did mention it's your first time in the big seat here as host of You Little Ripper. An important part of the show is off the top. We talk about our own You Little Ripper moment, and that's the moment between episodes that stands out, that's had us up and roaring. You Little Ripper at an Aussie Paralympian or an athlete with disability. I'm going to jump off first to give you a couple of seconds to decide who your You Little Ripper moment is, but mine is from the Para Swimming World Series in Melbourne. The Aussie team, the Aussie Dolphins, the Aussie Para Dolphins, won 12 gold medals out of a possible 23 in front of their home crowd. As always, just such an amazing performing team. But one standout for me is the great Tim Hodge, friend of the pod. He collected 3 gold medals, a gold medal in the S9 100-meter butterfly, a gold medal in the 200-meter medley, and a gold medal in the 400-meter freestyle. Now, Chad, Tim's actually, one of his secrets to becoming the world championship swimmer, the legend swimmer that he is that he does a bit of a side business as a manual labourer to get that strength, to keep his strength in the off-season. What do you do to keep your strength in the off-season?
To keep my strength, I've got to keep myself out of the local fast food joints, I think, when I'm in the off season. I do a fair bit of just general walking around and just moving. Like it's important to move your body and to stay active, I think. And that was one thing. And watching that I'm not not letting myself go over the top on what I'm eating, because I came back from Tokyo and I had 3 months in the UK, and I had to put a bit of weight on, and as an elite athlete, I think you got to hold yourself accountable for that. So I knew that I wasn't in good shape, but that stuff's fun. But being a labourer, that's a good one. I think the few random sort of gym programs that you can put in the bin and just go out and sort of move some dirt around. I think that's great.
Oh, mate, he's a legend of a guy. What's your you little ripper moment?
Oh, mate, I'm out from the athletics. Sam McIntosh pushed an A qualifier in the T52 100 metres this week, 17.11. His first A quali for 2024, and that was into a 1.7 headwind, which
that is crazy.
Yeah, it's like that. That's incredible stuff. And I was actually at the track and watched it live, but there was no clock working on the infield, so you couldn't see the time, and there was no ground announcer. And I was sitting there like, we were all sitting there like, what's happening? Like, we didn't know what times people were running or anything like that. So when I saw it pop up on the Athletics Australia's socials the other day, that was mine. I was pumped when I saw that. Really good, and particularly into that headwind. You're not going to get many people doing qualies in sprints in those sort of conditions.
Well, the most favourable headwind you can get is 1.99 in the opposite direction. That will count as a world record. So he's losing three and a half kind of. He's getting pushed in the face, pushed backwards before he even starts. Now, as a 1,500 metre, as a 5,000 metre, a headwind down the back straight is brutal. But the headwind to finish, it's kind of, you can hold on over that last 80 metres. Mate, you're a sprinter. There's not too many chances to capitalise on the tailwind if you've got a headwind in your face. What are your thoughts as you go up on the block and you've got a 1.7 meters per second headwind in your noggin?
I've got a pretty good example of it, actually, because I raced down in Melbourne for the Murray Plant meet about a month ago now, and I ran 11.03, and there was a 2.0 headwind on that day. So really strong headwind. And then a couple of weeks later, I ran at Canberra Track Classic and ran 10.62 with a plus 2.0 tailwind. So the change is plus 4.4 in that, and I ran 0.41 of a second faster. So that's the sort of change that it makes and the difference that the winds do have in sprints. And there's a reason that 2.0 is the cutoff for a tailwind for records and qualifiers and things like that, because you just run a wind tunnel with a 10 meter per second tailwind and run records every day. But it does make a lot of difference, and that's what impressed me so much about Sam's race and how he was able to get up and go there, drop an A quali into a 1.7 headwind. And the winds were definitely headwinds on the day. As I said, I was out there and was pretty happy to be sitting in the grandstand for that one.
Sam Mack, one of the quiet achievers of the Paralympic movement. And if I'm doing my maths correctly, Chad, that's about a 4% change in your end result time, depending on a 2 meters per second tailwind compared to a 2 meters per second headwind. That is massive when it comes to that 100 meter performance. Oh, we love it when you get in contact with us from home, when you have that relationship to the Paralympic movement, when you want to hear from athletes, when you want to hear from specific sports. And one of the most frequent contacts points to make sure that we cover is the support crew around our para equestrian team. They're doing amazing things every single month. And finally, we have a para equestrian here on the show at You Little Ripper, one of our most talented performers. We have the great Emma Booth. Emma, welcome to You Little Ripper.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Things are good. Yeah, thank you. A lot has happened since Tokyo, but I'm currently in Germany, so it's 2:30 in the morning over here at the minute. And I've only been here for about a week, but we're on an exciting journey towards Paris, hopefully. So yeah, it's all go.
Now, Emma, I've been intrigued with this little story that you've got going on here. So you're over in Germany trying to actually trying to find a horse to compete in Paris with. How's that going?
Yeah, good. it's still a little bit up in the air at the moment, but yeah, fingers crossed. We've got a horse, and we'll hopefully start training in the coming weeks. And we've got our first qualifier in the middle of April. So yeah, it's all been very quick, but we're making it happen. And yeah, definitely thanks to the support of my awesome owners, so Kylie Eady, Will, and Terry Scanlon, who's the director of Rehab for Hire. They've come on board and just made it all possible. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful to have some awesome support, because definitely things with horses aren't cheap. So, you know, we need that backing, and I'm really lucky to have that and to have this opportunity presented. So yeah, keen to see what happens in the coming months.
Is this unprecedented, the change of horse this close to a games?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. So normally we'd have a bit more time. But unfortunately the horse I was working with at home, he's a bit young, a bit inexperienced, and it didn't sort of work. So yeah, the owners were like, well, get on a plane, go to Europe, find one over there and do your thing. So here I am.
How do you get to the point where you find a horse, and then how does the training look like to build that relationship that you need? And I know you're on such a tight time frame leading into qualifying. So how do you build that relationship quickly?
I think for me, it's a really fine combination of the things that I require in a horse. I need something that's relatively forward thinking and kind of wants to go on its own, because I don't have the use of my leg, which in able-bodied dressage is the aid that sort of tells them to go and do those things. I need something that's got a really good brain, like focuses, wants to please, performs when they're out. And yeah, I think I'm fortunate that I've had a lot of experience with a lot of different horses, and I'm pretty quick to pick up on the little things in a horse that I need and that really work for me. Like it's a very specific type of horse, so it's a challenge to find the right one, definitely. But yeah, that's sometimes you just got to go with your gut feeling as well.
This isn't your first rodeo. You've been to two games previously. I know that you've loved horses your entire life, but how did you get into that first games experience? Tell me that story.
The first games experience, so my accident was in 2013. And then obviously the rehab process after, you know, a good 6 months. And then I was back in the saddle only 6 months after my accident. So for me, that was a really big part of both my physical and mental rehabilitation. You know, for me to have that goal of getting back in the saddle was just something that kept me focused, gave me a bit of purpose, meaning, you know, like when everything in your life's just been completely turned upside down and changed, and, you know, you've gone through so much trauma, having that positive something that you love and passion to focus on was really important for me. I set the goal pretty early on after my accident that I wanted to be on the team for Rio. Initially, I think it was, yeah, I sort of put it out into the universe, so to speak, and I didn't know if it was necessarily going to be a reality. But once I actually had my first ride, I had the awesome support of some people, Julia Badams from Balmoral. That's when it was like, actually, you know what, we could give this a real crack, and we might actually have a shot at this. Like, I feel really good in the saddle. It was just a matter of finding the right horse. So we did 2 trips overseas to try and find a dancing partner, and came back empty-handed. And then with only 2 qualifying events left, my coach at the time said, oh, there's actually this horse just around the corner. You should come and have a sit. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, surely not. I've been overseas twice and there's one just around the corner, like righto. But yeah, we went and had a sit, and it was just that instant, like, he just got it. It was this amazing feeling that this is the horse we've been looking for. That was Zidane who got me on the team for Rio. And yeah, it all just happened from there. We had 3 weeks between getting the horse and our first qualifying event together. And he was just such a ripper that we actually went out and got the highest scores of all Australian para dressage riders at that event. And he broke the record for the highest freestyle score in both able-bodied and para at that event. So he was awesome, and it just all came together. So that's how we got on the team for Rio.
That's such a great story. Like that's really incredible. Now I know. So you had you got the horse from locally here in Australia. Now, I know that, like, I know what it's like jumping on a plane for us. You know, we're like getting across to around the world. But how does that work for a horse? Is it true that there's like different classes like what we have here, like sort of like a business class, economy, premium economy, that kind of thing?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, so we have to qualify as a combination with the horse, which means that, you know, if you qualify in Australia, the horse has to get on a plane and go overseas to where the games are. And it basically works similar to, if you can imagine, a horse float that's on the back of a car, like how we would transport them around here. They basically go onto something that's quite similar, and then that is put onto a cargo plane. And the only difference, maybe if you're talking like premium business class, is that you can pay a little bit extra to have a slightly larger stall. So if you had quite a big horse, you'd pay that extra to give them that little bit more room. But yeah.
So what are your next 4 months? What does it look like?
The next 4 months, we have basically picked 4 qualifying events over here in Europe. So there'll be April, May, and June. We'll do those 4 events, hopefully come out with some really good scores. And if that's the case, we'll then go into training camp in August, and then head over in September. If everything goes smoothly, that's basically, you know, I make it sound like, oh, it's just so easy and it's a given, but there's a lot that can happen between now and then. So particularly with horses, it's always a real roller coaster of ups and downs and things you have to manage, things that can go wrong. You know, I think that's the real, you know, it's quite particular, our equestrian sport, because you aren't just managing yourself as an athlete. You do have to take into consideration the horse, like they're 50% of the partnership, and they're an animal that they have their own mind. So, you know, you've got to try and really build that partnership, work together and try and get the best out of them, you know, peaking when it matters most. So
Emma, you're over there competing in Paris. Obviously, you Little Ripper audience will be tuning in to see how you go. But who are you going to check out? Who's the competitor or the teammate that you want to see compete there?
From Australia?
Can be any Paralympian, either Australian or abroad.
Ooh, I'm really hoping that our Aussie Stella Barton will be on the team. She's a grade 1 para rider who's actually on the horse of Sharon Jarvis, who has been to 3 games now. So it's this really lovely story that Sharon has this horse, this beautiful stallion. She's given the ride to Stella, and Stella has currently been getting some really great scores back in Australia. So I would love to see her on a plane in Paris competing. Yeah, I would love to see how that all would unfold. I think that would be an awesome story. They're both amazing people, so yeah, that would be really cool.
That's very good. I'm looking forward to hopefully being over there in Paris. Both of us haven't gone through selections yet, clearly, so we're it's going to be a really exciting time, and looking forward to tuning in the village and cheering you on when you're out there in the comp.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, we're all cheering you on from back here, Emma, and thanks for joining us at You Little Ripper.
Thank you so much, guys.
Especially at 2:30 in the morning. You know what? You get double points, I think.
That's brutal. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, it's okay. You guys, you're worth it. Oh, the alarm was on. It's fine.
Amazing. And good luck. We're thinking of you and cheering for you.
Thanks so much. Thanks, guys.
Chad Perris, would you ever become a para equestrian? I'm not saying you're getting towards the twilight of your athletic career. I think there's nothing but up. But just in case, would that be a sport you would do?
Oh, I reckon it could be a chance. I've got my brother's in tandem cycling, and he keeps trying to get me on the back of the tandem bike with his pilot when I was over in Perth. But so that's two things where I don't really have to use your eyes. The horse sees pretty well, don't they? So I reckon it'll be all right.
There can never be enough Perris. That's what I'm saying. Two brothers on the team headed toward Paris, but one riding a horse, one riding a bike for the rest of time. I think we're on to a winner for the Paralympic movement. Mate, congratulations and thank you for joining me on your first ever hosting of You Little Ripper. Thank you, Chad Perris.
No worries, Kurt. Thanks very much for having me. It's been great to chat with you. And what a story Emma has as well. That's really exciting stuff.
We love Emma Booth. And you know who else we love? We love you, our listeners. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We love all things parasport and want to share how amazing it is with the rest of the world. But we need your help to do that.
We need to make sure that you tell all your friends and family about what we're doing, and make sure to leave us a review as well.
A nice review, only a nice review. And we'll be back with more interviews with your favorite athletes. So make sure you followed You Little Ripper on social media and wherever you get your podcasts. And if you go to it now, you see some amazing stories of the last 12 months of all the different people and guests we've had on the show.
We'd like to say a big thank you to Toyota for supporting this episode of You Little Ripper. Oh, what a feeling. Thanks, Toyota.
Thanks, Toyota.